Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding is provided by a grant from Absolute Care of Westfield, committed to returning the favor to those who spent a lifetime caring for others. Absolute Care is located at 26 Cass Street in Westfield. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Join us live Saturday mornings between 9 and 10 a.m. in Fredonia, Mayville, and Silver Creek. Call in and share a thought or wish someone a happy birthday with Chautauqua County's only live on-air senior program. Reed continues in his 15th year with interesting guests expressing their viewpoints and informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And good morning, good morning. What a beautiful day we have here in Chautauqua County. The temperature's soaring, the birds are chirping, the flowers are blossoming. It's a wonderful world. Spring is here, and we'll hear more about that from Doc. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to have a great show. We're going to have we're going to have Cathy Young. She is our state senator, and she'll be talking about matters of interest to us, taxes and regulations and new things and old things in our New York State Senate. We have a lot to talk about today. I see the I'll tell you something, the television is just madness. I knew darn well they'd have to have a resolution of that, of the Congress in terms of the budget, and it has been passed. They're finishing up doing the detailed work, but fortunately they did not cut certain things which were basically changing the policies of the country, such as abortion. They were after that one, although they missed the boat because the family planning services do not do many abortions. I think they said about 3% they're in touch with, but they do provide services for women, which are very important. We also are going to have some changes. It looks like they're going to cut half $1 trillion off the seniors. You know, the seniors are easy to attack. They first of all gave a third year without any increase for inflation. We were guaranteed a COLA in our Social Security contract, and it was a promise, sacred promise. 3 years now they've given us no COLA. The first couple of years they said, well, there's no inflation, which was utter bunkum. If you and I go shopping, we know this, or pay our insurance, or our taxes have gone up 9%, 25% on the state level, 9% locally. Taxes are rising sharply. No inflation? Well, they finally agreed that there is inflation, since everybody is claiming there is such, excepting Benaki, our top financial advisor in the country, running the finances of our country. He says he sees no inflation. I don't know, maybe the guy doesn't go shopping, or maybe he doesn't have to pay his bills. That's all taken care of for him. But yeah, there's a lot of inflation. And again, Congress, in their wisdom, no COLA again for seniors. So at this point, we're losing our purchasing power of our Social Security, and in many cases, retirements go along with it. And seniors, you're going to be living in your children's basement eating cat food. Yeah, just like during the Depression. That's the way it appears now. Congress just doesn't care. They have to save the money. They said there's no money. Well, there's an $8 trillion trust fund. Trust the Congress. Fat chance. Which is gone. There's an IOU in it. That's all there is, and it's meaningless. They can't pay it back and aren't about to. So there's no money. Even though every year there's still a huge increase in the amount of Social Security money that comes in and goes out. And they just put the excess into the budget and use it for the wars, which transfers the funds, you know, from the poor to the rich. That's what wars do. The manufacturers make a lot of money, Halliburton included. Okay, so I don't know, maybe we should again, I'm starting to receive the emails, toss them all out. They're playing games. This song and dance game was incredible in the Congress for the last week or so. And you knew they'd eventually pass a resolution of some kind. Meaningless, incidentally. $40 billion out of a $2 trillion budget. It's meaningless. They didn't cut back any on all the Air Force planes that we don't need, and the huge budget of the armed forces. Didn't cut back at all. Just bring the boys home, and you could save $1 trillion right there. No, they're not about to do that. Keep the dollars rolling, the industries. Yep. Okay, so enough said. Television, as I say, it's craziness. In New York State, we'll hear more about that from Cathy Young. Locally, we're doing fine in the county. There are a lot of great things going on. There's celebrations today. We'll hear a little about that. And I took a trip recently, and I wanted to I want to thank the police department in Westfield. I took a trip, and I had to leave my house vacant. And you don't just leave your house vacant. I'm sure most of you know this, but I want to thank Rob Genther. He's the chief of police in Westfield, and he gave me a list of things. He did, incidentally, take down the details about my house, and you have to leave a key or a key holder for the police, and you have to, they know where it is. They'll keep an eye on it for you, and that's very important. And you tell your neighbors. I told my neighbors, and my next door neighbor, thank her very much, Gail, who heard my fire alarm going off in the middle of the night. She said, oh my gosh, she called the police. They came running over. They knew where the key was. They entered, and they found out that the fire alarm was malfunctioning and going like crazy, which is something scary. They were good enough to remove the batteries to disable the malfunctioning fire alarm. And I have plenty of other ones in the house. I've got 7. Everybody should have one in every room anyway. But I want to thank the Westfield Police Department for their attention and kindness. Other things you might want to do is take an inventory of your belongings. Some people just take a video, makes it easy, and shoot around so they know just exactly what everything is, where it is. In case somebody does slip in and start taking things, you'll know immediately that they were taken, and check with your insurance company to make sure they will cover them. And take your jewelry and really hide it, or put it in your safe deposit box or whatever. Don't leave that stuff around, you know. Make sure your insurance coverage would also cover such things as water. You could have a burst pipe, and you've got to have your caretaker, your friend, your neighbor, your relative, whoever's watching the house, have a immediate service. Get somebody to fix the pipe. Once the pipe starts to blow, it's all over. You've got to stop it. And if you have electrical problems or whatever, there should be somebody there. Leave some lights on all over the house. I leave all my lights on. Leave an outdoor light, and if you have a motion detector light, that's particularly important. Just make sure it's too high for them to shut it off or break the bulb or unscrew it. Little alarms, sometimes motion detectors, although they do tend to go off, especially if you have pets. If you have a cat or something, you got a real problem because they're going to set that thing off, so you can't really use it. But there are other kinds of alarms that are simple, one that just operates from the middle of the room, that just basically is a contact alarm. I put signs up all over the place. You're on camera, smile. Enlist help. Get your friends and neighbors to help you out and make sure everything's good. And most importantly, make the house look like somebody's living there. If there's snow, have somebody just shovel a quick path into the house, because that's important to make it look lived in. If you have leaves all over the place, have them rake it. Stop your papers. You don't want a big pile of papers. And make sure somebody picks up all the flyers that are given out, the penny saver and that kind of thing, the quality guide and things that would pile up. And then immediately let people know you're not home. Have somebody pick your mail up, little things like that, or stop the mail for a while. But make sure you cover yourself when you leave your house. Don't just walk away and figure, well, Aunt Tilly will come over and keep an eye on it. No. Make sure, number one, you tell the police, so they will keep an eye on it for you, and they'll be aware of the fact if there is an emergency, you're not there. And leave instructions with your friends. All right, enough of that. I got a big long list I got from Chief Gunther, but I think that pretty well covers it pretty well. Okay. Now, I've got a few comments I want to make. This has to do with our seniors citizen clubs. We have some great clubs around here. There's the Dunkirk Senior Center, and Charlene Hallmark is the one who runs that place, and boy, does she do a nice job over there. And let's see, I've got a couple other items here. Sophie Kubicek reminded members about the trip to the Broadway Market on April 13th. They're going to Oliver's Chocolate Factory in Batavia. Hey, can you beat that? And they'll probably get freebies. Jean Zott and Julian Nilowski, happy birthday to you. Silver Creek seniors have a lovely club. And it's right in the corner of 20 and 5 in Silver Creek. And lovely old place they have there. I wanted to mention the fact that we have Joyce Ayers, who runs the seniors in Mayville. And boy, do they have a club over there. Nancy Navarro, Bonnie Johnson, Eleanor Cornelius are the kitchen committee. They're going to, that's the most important thing in your meeting is to have the kitchen committee. And there is a bicentennial, which is happening right here. As a matter of fact, we're in the old school. They're getting started on it, and it's in the old MCS building on Academy, and that's today. And so come on over, have some fun. They have a lot of things going on. Incidentally, they have a new bird feeder over there in Mayville. Many seniors watch birds. I like to watch birds, and I put out feeders for them, and I put out the little red feeder for the hummingbirds with sugar water in it, and they never come. I don't think we have any hummingbirds around us. Next meeting, if you want to join well, they meet every 2 weeks in Mayville. Just get in touch with Joyce or anybody in charge there. Well, I think that's enough. They're telling me the news time is over. We've got Cathy Young coming on. We've got the doc who's on in a minute, and he's going to talk about springtime. So I'm going to take a brief break, and this is a public service announcement, which is just for you. Here you go.
No! Come on! Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
There you go. Let's move. .government. We got a guy with us going to talk a little bit about spring, John Hamels. Doc, here you go. You're on, Doc.
Morning, Reed, and morning, everybody out there in TV land. This morning I thought, Reed, I would bring absolute proof that spring is here. And in Ripley, where I live, this is the evidence that I captured the other day. I don't work for any studio, and this is very low tech, and my buddy Jeff is going to help me with this. But I want you all to listen to the proof that spring is here, and here it is. I captured this on my phone the other night.
Are those birds?
Those are peepers, as we call them.
Ah, they're frogs.
Yeah.
Toads, too, I think.
Could be. So anyways, there you have it. First time you heard it today, it's official. Spring is here. It's going to be like 70 degrees out there today. The frogs are chirping and so forth. You're going to have a great show this morning, I see. Catherine Young is here, and Catherine and I shared a program the other night. I was a guest speaker, or the speaker for the Chautauqua Opportunities. I'm the chairman of the board. Chautauqua Opportunities, 45 years old. Congratulations to all the folks out there, and I know Catherine's been very involved with COI and this studio and so forth. So I'm looking forward to taking your calls for Senator Young today. I'll be the guy answering it, so please keep that in mind. Another thing I want to tell you, I was absolutely inspired this week, Reed. I think I told you last week that my colleague Bill Drell and I, we were going to play at the county home for the folks out there. And on Monday, we were greeted by a special fella named Joe. And Joe came up to me, he says, "Hey, Doc," and I didn't even know this gentleman, and he welcomed me, and he introduced himself. He had some music and some poetry that he had written, and I thought, wow, this guy was full of life, and what an opportunity it was for me to meet him and for us to play for the folks there. We had a great time, which only leads me to believe that I like to just remind folks, I'll bet a lot of you folks listening right now have a piano that's somewhere in your house that's collecting books or bills or hats. Maybe you have a violin